Former Dallas Fed President Richard Fisher, he joins me now. It's great to have you on. One of the people I was hoping to speak with today regarding all of this. What was your reaction when you heard this news?
That he was carrying it to the president, and we know Bondi only acts on behalf of the president. There's no independence to the Justice Department. That he was carrying it too far, and this may well backfire. Look at the former secretaries of the Treasury, including Paulson, who's a Republican. Look at the former Fed chair. Look at the 3 or 4 senators now come out against this. And the member of the House who's very important here, who chairs the Finance Committee, they're all against it. So I don't think it's to his favor, that is the Trump administration. And I don't accept the fact that the president had nothing to do with it.
So what did you think of Chair Powell's response, both in how public it was, obviously, and how pointed it was? That seems unprecedented in and of itself.
I think you're right, and yet the attacks that he suffered are unprecedented, and this case, as it's purported to be, is unprecedented. And if you look at what's happened in the marketplace, yes, the stock market is even, but again, gold is up 6.2%, silver's up 18%. That to me indicates nervousness. I'll set aside platinum, which is used, it's up 10%, which is used for industrial purposes. And I do think that the market is shaken by this. Now, having said that, it appears that Jerome Powell has the upper hand here. And if he is indeed trying to influence Powell to leave after he's chair, I think if anything, he stoked some resistance by Powell to do so. I'm not worried about his ever leaving the chair. And I do believe they've made mistakes. But is he criminally responsible? I doubt it. And we'll find out. But again, don't accept the argument that Ms. Bondi and the Justice Department is independent. They are not.
The former Fed Chair, Janet Yellen, told our Sarah Eisen today, quote, "I find it extremely chilling for Fed independence." Lloyd Blankfein, the former Goldman Sachs CEO, on X a short time ago said, quote, "Trying to kill the Fed independence by criminal investigation is not good for that institution and maybe even worse for the Justice Department. Feels like an attempt at murder-suicide." Your comments on both of those reactions?
Well, also look at Frank Paulson, the former chairman of Goldman Sachs, Republican Secretary of the Treasury, feels the same way. Look, we have to preserve Federal Reserve independence. Yes, they make mistakes, no question about that. They've done some horrific stuff. For example, in accepting the argument of transitory inflation. But it's better than having it politically controlled. And if this is a pretty bald attempt, it appears to me, to take control of the Federal Reserve and really to scare Powell away from holding not the chairman's seat, but the governor's seat for another 2 years. And if anything, I believe, I haven't talked to him, but I believe it reinforces that instinct because he will stand. And the FOMC, by the way, will elect who chairs the FOMC going forward for the next year. And I think he's got support of the committee.
I mean, some might suggest that
it doesn't work in the Justice Department, or excuse me, it doesn't work in President Trump's favor. And we'll see. He's already backing away from it somewhat. We'll see if he backs away from it altogether.
I mean, some might suggest. I was going to say that the final nail now is in the coffin, so to speak, of Fed independence. That this has sort of crossed the Rubicon of, having the Justice Department open a criminal probe into the sitting Fed chair is something we haven't seen before. Do you think whoever the next Fed chair is can effectively do their job independently?
No, not if they're appointed by Powell. I think he just undermined. If it's Kevin Warsh or Kevin Hassett, or we'll see if our friend who appears next to me on this show, who's a very good guy, by the way, or whoever it may be, it undermines their authority. And therefore, it's not good for the Fed independence. And whoever the next Fed chair is just going to have to make it very clear that they're going to operate according to what the data and the inputs tell them, and not what the President of the United States wants. I can understand why why the President's doing this. He's getting a weaker support from his base, the MAGA base. He's now talking about credit card limits at 10%. He's talking about other restrictions on home prices. He's now talking about attacking the Fed. That appeals politically, but it doesn't really make sense from the standpoint of Federal Reserve independence, which is a powerful instinct and history throughout the United States. So let's hope he's wrong about that. Let's hope he backs away from it. The four people you're showing right now are all very able, and he's just undermining every one of them if they happen to be appointed by him.